Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for waiting. I appreciate it. I'm going to go through and make sure you can be able to record from your end. So I'm going to go through. Please let me know if you're not able to record at the time. So I'm going to do that. If you're not able to record, please put it down in the chat if you need to be able to record. Okay, I gave permissions. If you're not able to record still, please let me know, but I've gone through and basically did everyone that I saw on here. All right, we're going to start here shortly. I'm going to open up to the chief here in a second, but please, when it comes time to ask questions, please use the raise your hand feature or put your question in the chat. I appreciate you all taking part in this news conference today. Chief Armstrong, I turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Unfortunately, this morning at 10:00 hours, the Oakland Police Department received calls from community members regarding shots fired in the 9600 block of Each Street. When officers arrived on scene, the first officer was an off-duty officer that arrived and attempted to provide medical care for the individual until our officers in uniform showed up. The individual was transported to a local hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. Unfortunately, he was pronounced deceased. That represents our 96th homicide of the year. At this same time last year, we had 102 homicides. The Oakland Police Department recognizes the level of violence that we've experienced in the city of Oakland over the last 8 days. And in response to that increase in violence, I am reorganizing and redeploying additional officers, particularly on evenings where we've seen violence spike the most. We will have all of our specialized units, including our Violent Crimes Operations Center, our ceasefire teams, as well as our community resource officers deployed into the field to provide a greater presence in areas where we've seen violence continue to spike. We are confident that these new focuses will bring more officers onto the streets to not only enhance our enforcement efforts on those that continue to drive gun violence, but also for traffic safety. We've also seen an increase in traffic fatal collisions. As a result of that, we will be increasing our traffic unit. We will be redeploying officers specifically dedicated to traffic enforcement throughout the city of Oakland. This has been a tough week around violence in our city, but group and gang violence continues to be the predominant driver of violence in the city of Oakland. Of our 450 shootings this year, 137 of those shootings have been attributed to group and gang violence in the city of Oakland. We will continue to rely on our strong partnerships with our federal and local law enforcement partners. They have been very supportive, and we will continue to work closely with them as we address gun violence in our city. We've also seen an increase in San Francisco-related groups and gangs in the city of Oakland. We will continue to partner with the San Francisco Police Department in addressing those that are bringing violence over to the city of Oakland as well. And we have apprehended several suspects as a result of that partnership, and that will continue. But we are going all hands on deck to address gun violence in the city of Oakland, 7 days a week, increased staffing. Officers who were off on their days off last weekend were called in on Saturday night in order to enhance our enforcement efforts. We will continue to do that. bring in officers that are on their off days, extend officer shift in order to ensure that we're providing safety for the residents of Oakland. And so we'll continue to utilize our ceasefire strategy and working with our community partners to address gun violence. But this is all hands on deck in order to reduce the loss of life in the city of Oakland. So with that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
Again, I ask if you want to ask a question, please raise the hand feature, or you can also put it down in the chat. All right, I'm not seeing any hands up. There's a question in the chat, Chief. It says, Chief Armstrong, is there any sense how long this redeployment can happen?
Well, we'll continue this redeployment until we can arrest those that are driving violence. We know that there are group and gang conflicts throughout our city. We have to identify those individuals that are driving that violence and arrest them and take them out of our community so they can not engage in this activity again. And that's been challenging, but we will continue to be focused. We will continue to use our ceasefire strategy, which is highly intelligence-led, to identify the right individuals. This is not an effort to arrest everybody. This is an effort to arrest those that are driving gun violence in our city and get these guns off the streets and out of our community. We feel like there is only a small group of people that are driving violence in the city of Oakland, but these individuals are active and we need to identify them, and we need the community's help to bring them forward so that we can make those key arrests.
Okay, I see a hand raised that says iPhone. I'm not sure who you are, but can you identify yourself, take yourself off mute and ask your question?
Hey folks, yeah, this is Ansar Hassan with ABC 7 News. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can answer.
Okay, Chief, thanks for making time. Couple quick questions. You said that you will be sending officers to areas that you've seen the most violence. Can you tell us what neighborhoods those might be? And then also you mentioned that you're going to be using 8 more officers. How did you come about with the figure of 8 officers, and how do you think that that's the right amount to sort of help Oakland with this all hands on deck effort?
Yeah, I'll answer both questions. I won't give the specific locations, but we will have increased officer presence in East Oakland, as well as some areas in West Oakland where we know certain groups and gangs congregate. We know that these are areas that other groups and gangs focus on for retaliatory shootings. We will be in those areas with a high presence, as well as visual vehicles like our command post and our community resource vehicles will be deployed into those areas. What we did was, with the increased staffing that we had over the last month or so as we graduated in the academy, it allowed us to actually redeploy 8 additional divisions. That will increase the number of investigations that we can take on. Those include shooting investigations, burglary investigations, robbery investigations. With those enhanced investigators, it's my hope that we can identify more individuals that are responsible for some of these crimes and bring them to justice, take them out of our community so that they can stop engaging in that behavior. So that's what the 8 officers going to our criminal investigations division will do. And we look to increase that staff in the next month or two when we graduate our next academy in October, and we release more officers from our field training program. As this department is growing, we will see increased resources being deployed throughout the department that will enhance our enforcement efforts.
Okay, I see KTSF. Your question, please.
Yeah, hello, Chief. Is there any updates on Lily Shu's case?
Mr. Shu's, I'm sorry, which case?
Lily Shu, like the
Yes.
dentist.
I don't have any update at this time. I will say that we are working around the clock based on every lead that the community has brought forward. We continue to ask for the community's help if they have any information regarding the Shu's case. But right now, I don't have an update for you.
Okay, Chief, the next question is coming out of the chat. how many of the last 9 homicides have been tied to gang violence or have been connected to one another, if any?
Well, we know that the homicides have which conflict that it's related to, but the victims in a couple of our homicides we know had some connection to groups and gangs, and we know that it was highly likely that that may have been the reason for, or the associated reason for, the shooting. What we do with our ceasefire strategy is we look at every shooting and homicide to see if there's any group and gang connection. We do have some connections, but it's hard to say at this time until we make an arrest what the underlying driving reason for that particular shooting and homicide was. But we do have some information on a couple of shootings with those connections that we believe makes it highly likely that it was group and gang related.
Thank you. Maggie, you have the next question.
Yeah, hi, Chef. I'm Maggie from Xingtao Daily. So I just want to ask because I remember there will be open a new station at the Little Saigon communities. Any update on that or anything special to protect our, Asian American community in Oakland? Thank you.
Yes, nothing specific on that particular case, but I do feel like there's positive news to push out to the community regarding what's happening in Little Saigon. Our refocus of resources in Little Saigon has led to the last 2 weeks and have been effective. We know that there have been some crimes that have occurred, but we definitely are not seeing the level of crime that we were seeing over the past month of August and July. And so that is encouraging that our strategies are working. The deployment of more resources in the Little Saigon area is making it safer in that area, but there's still more work to do, and we are still focused in that area.
Next question is coming from the chat. It's from Dan Cron. Are these new cops or existing cops on overtime? How much will this cost, and how long can you do this, both money-wise and wearing down your officers?
I think it's a combination of both. We did, get a group of officers that were released from our field training program. That allowed us to redeploy new officers into our CID, increase that staffing. But I believe that this is something that we have to do. And I don't think that you can put a cost on loss of life. I'm willing to deal with whatever fallout there may be about what it costs for us to actually make this city a bit safer. So I'm not ready to put out figures, but I'm going to effectively utilize whatever resources we have in order to address violence. I understand the fatigue that this can have on our staff, and so we are rotating this staffing plan throughout the department. When I said earlier that everything is on deck, that meant every resource that we can utilize will be utilized. I am worried about officer fatigue, but I'm also worried about safety in our community. And so we'll deal with both. We'll do our best to make sure that our officers get the rest that they need. But most critically important right now is for us to bring forth a sense of safety in the city of Oakland, because I know people are fearful and we want to be able to manage that fear.
Okay, Chief. And the last question we have here in the chat from Sam Whiting. Was today's fatal shooting gang related, and can you identify the victim?
It's still early in the investigation. We don't have a motive at this time, but we are working the investigation right now. And I'm not able to victim pending notice to next of kin right now, but it will in the coming days be released.
Okay, and that's all there, sir. I will let you close this out, Chief.
This is a difficult time in the city of Oakland. We know that we've seen a huge spike in gun violence across our city. It is important that this department responds, and it is important that we utilize every resource that we have available to address gun violence, and we will be doing that. We will increase enforcement on our streets to remove these guns from our community. If community members have information that they can bring forward to help us solve those crimes, we need that information. We need that additional evidence. We cannot do this alone. Investigations require the community to be a part. you will see more officers on the streets, and hopefully it leads to a safer community. So thank you all for your time. This is an important moment for us to be able to make Oakland a safer city.
All right, with that, I appreciate you all for attending today's news conference. Thank you so much, Chief. You all have a great day.